Welcome to another edition of Interruptions. Today, my guest is Pastor Lavoris Holloway from Transforming Life Church. He's the pastor there. He's also my childhood friend, my brother, my choir mate. He got a lot of names I can say that we've hung out and done together. But most importantly, I will say for me, he's my brother in Christ, and I consider him just my brother. Once again, I'm talking no other than Pastor Lavoris Holloway. How you doing, sir?
Man, I am good, man. You could have disregarded all those titles and say I'm talking to my boy. That's all.
Well, some people I do that. Then some people, I got to, I got to put a little extra on it. You know, at least I didn't, try to come, give you all the titles. Doctoring in this and
Oh, nah, man, nah. We all right. We all right. You know how we roll. What's up, fellas?
Hey, I wanted to have you on. I've had a lot of different pastors and ministers on. I wanted to make sure I had you on because I know you're going to have a word that can encourage us all through this interview. And so I wanted to talk about, I guess, what I consider the lost art of friendship, of being friends. And so one of my first questions for you is kind of what does it mean to be a friend? And then what does it mean to be like when we call each other brothers? So people can start to understand the difference. Like some people are just your friend, like, hey, that's my friend. And they really are a friend. And then sometimes we move to something else when we say, hey man, that's my brother.
Yeah. Well, with the advent of social media, man,
Hmm.
especially Facebook using the term friend,
Right.
I believe it has lessened what it is to be a friend. We sometimes count friends or the number of friends
Mm-hmm.
by the people who, are under our profile or in our contacts or those who like our posts.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but and other platforms use other terms, but that whole friend is the most common term in
Right.
social media. So I think it has lightened it. Uh, but friendship to me, man, goes deeper than that. You have acquaintances, you have people then you have friends.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, like you asked, you have brothers.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think that the profundity of it is we have to determine who are those lifers
Mm-hmm.
and who are those persons who are there just for a period of time.
Okay.
See, you and I, we are lifers.
Right.
So that's why we call each other brother. I mean,
Okay.
well over 30 years
Right.
of just knowing each other, being in context with each other. Um, but then there are friends, I'll just say, my coworkers.
Right.
Uh, I got some coworkers who I have bonded with, and we call each other friend.
Gotcha.
But that I know that will be for a season, because if somebody leaves the job, we may or may not continue that friendship.
Gotcha.
And so the text of scripture talks about, man, friend sticks closer than a brother. And so I have a biological brother. So when I examine our relationship, and
Mm-hmm.
then I look at a relationship such as you and I,
Right.
it's similar.
Right.
So that's a friend. So a friend, man, would tell me, hey, man, that that shirt don't fit you. Or, hey,
Mm-hmm.
bro, you need to, you know, tighten up on this. It's more than that person who will just compliment you and celebrate you, but it's somebody who will tell you the truth. Be there right. I mean, not only right in the thick of things, as the phrase says, a ride or die, but they'll tell you the truth. They're there when you need them. They're there when we don't talk for 6 months and we
Right.
pick up the phone and carry on. So
Right.
sticks closer than a brother, man. I need to know that there's some blood there, that
Gotcha.
there's some trials there, there's some storms there, there's some moments of celebration. Somebody that's gonna stick closer than a brother. So that's friend. Then that escalates to brotherhood. Based, and for me, it's based upon time.
Gotcha.
Because I know a lot of people, and I classify myself as a friendly person.
Right.
But but over time, can we be friends? Can we be brothers?
Right.
Can we be the ones who just say, in a time of loss, in a time of grief, in a time of transition or even in crisis, be on that list to call, be like, hey man, this happened.
That's that. Why? Hey, let me say, let me be the first one to say, trust me, if something jump off, I'm gonna call your biological brother too. We both call it. I'm gonna stand behind him first, and then if he can't handle it, I get in there where I fit in.
I hear you, man.
Hey, I was always with us growing up. I was always, because I don't have any brothers biological, and so I always looked at your brother as one that's like, hey, if it's going down and we got to fight, hey man, call him right quick, man. Man, you same side. No, we need somebody else.
Yeah. That's that ram in the bush right there, bro.
Okay, get that ram in the bush.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And I'm such a good friend to you. I was gonna die this fuzz, man. I said, well, Lavo gonna come on. He gonna wear the gray. So I'm gonna be with him. I'm gonna rock the gray with him.
hey, but check this out. One of the things I thought about, I said, well, Otis gonna choose a background, and I don't know what pictures I put up. I said, I hope he don't put a picture up of me without a beard or even with a black beard, and I come on looking like this, like I'm still in quarantine.
Nah, I wanted to get this one. I think you put this one up, I guess, with y'all anniversary.
Yes, sir. Natasha and I just celebrated 24 years of marriage and 28 years of being together as a couple. And so, man, it's been a glorious time, man. I told her years ago, you came into my life at the right time when I needed you and when I was ready. So God has been good to us, man, over these 24 years. I've gotten on her nerves all of these 24 years.
Yeah, 24 years. And,
yeah. But she's just like that. He don't know what he's doing. So,
hey, tell her I'm right behind you. I'll be 23. I won't be 24, but I'll be 23 years on New Year's Eve. So I'm
at the end of the year.
Yeah, right behind. And see, hold up. See, that's that good friendship. That's that friendship when you see your boy get married, you be like, oh, hold up, wait a minute. I need to do something. Hey, baby, you want to get married?
Hey, actually, if you go back during that season, man, several of us were getting married during that season.
Yep.
And every time somebody had a wedding that we knew of or in close proximity, they were always looking at Natasha. You know what I'm saying? Y'all next. I'd be like, y'all got some money.
Okay.
Don't marry me off just because my buddy got married, or just because this couple we know of got married, or even I was like, hey, it takes money to do this thing. And I'm not talking about money for the ceremony. I'm talking about money to live. I was trying to get my act together.
Well, what happened? You got married, and I was blessed enough to be in you guys' wedding.
Man, that was the time.
And then Keith got married. And then I was like, oh, hold up, wait a minute. My boys get hey, hold on. Look, doing it like a little kid. Y'all ain't gonna leave me out here by myself.
Exactly.
I'm gonna find me somebody. So
man.
Do you feel and you've kind of touched on it a bit with your answer. Do you feel people are really friends today, or do they just say that they're friends because they want something, from somebody? So give you a little context. I mean, like as we grew up, And then even as we both got into ministry together, sometimes people want to befriend you for status, in the church, or want to befriend you because it's cool to say me and the pastor, we tight, you don't even know the
Mm-hmm.
pastor. I'm talking about far as as a person. And
Mm-hmm.
so do you feel like that people don't take the time to really cultivate those relationships like you were talking about, or people just like you said are throwing that word out loosely because they actually just want something from somebody?
I believe that is partly true, that we embrace this term friend or that similitude in relationship because of status or because of what somebody wants,
Hmm.
rather than calling it for what it is. Hey, I need you to mentor me. I just need to connect with you in that vein, rather than we are friends. See, here's the key, Otis.
Okay.
I can't put a date on when we became friends.
I don't know.
You see, we
Right.
knew kind of along the line when we met and when we started hanging out, but I can't put it. Hey, we became friends right here.
Right.
It just happened
It
within
just
the
happened.
context of the relationship. Yeah, that was, we were in the same circle, and we attended opposing high school, so we competed
Right.
against each other,
Right.
over there. And then when I saw George High on the schedule, that was like, okay, I know my boy playing for George. I need to be on my A game today.
Right.
Uh, and so then I would say, hey, before and after the game, yo, holla at my boy over there. But I can't put a date as to when we became friends. All I knew is you entered my life, I entered your life, and other people entered our lives. And next thing you know, everybody like, hey, man, that's your boy right there. Yeah, that's my boy.
Yeah.
And so we're 30 plus years into the game. So, but there have been some other people that I know that are that were within our circle, and we
Right.
can say we are friends,
Right.
but I may just know
Gotcha.
you,
Hmm.
and so there are times where it can be contextualized in what I need or what I want. You have something that I have, that I desire,
Hmm.
and we call each other friend. But no, that's just, that could be a mentorship, that could be an apprenticeship. It's so I don't know, man, how to fully answer that. But I do answer it with the fact that, yeah, there are dimensions within friendship.
Yeah, you answered it. I'm never looking for
Mhm.
a particular
Right.
answer. Here in interruptions, what we try to do is just get your thoughts, your perception of what you perceive. And so it's never a particular answer I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
so you're correct, which is segue beautifully. We can kind of dive a little bit deeper as far as
Okay.
in this next question, which is, do you think people realize that friendship ends sometime because of interest change? In other words, it's nobody's fault that we're not tight as we used to be. It's just sometimes we and I don't even look at it as growing apart. I just look at it as like as we evolve as people, right? The the interest, like if I'm single and you married, no, we can't kick it like we used to kick it. That ain't go, that,
Right. All
that
right.
ain't gonna happen. Or if I'm married, you're married, but if the dynamics of my marriage is a little bit different than the dynamics of your marriage, sometimes we may still be cool, but you may not be once who you guys were. And I see
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people look at it, quote unquote, as a negative, trying to say, "Oh man, well, Lavoris done changed, man. He's not, you know, we ain't cool no more." And it's nobody's fault. Can you speak on just how sometimes people got to realize people sometimes they evolve, and life just take them in different directions.
Yeah, and well spoken, bro. Because it does. You know, when we were in our teenagers, and
Mm-hmm.
now we are on the doorstep of 50, all of life has changed. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we both remained in the same city. We both knew where each other lived all these years, but you know, the way we hung out is not the way we hang out now.
Right.
And so we evolved. You know, I got married, you got married, we got kids, you know, work schedules, course of life, you know, all of those dynamics are there. And so somebody could say, yeah, you changed, or you not my boy anymore, you different, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but not understanding where a person is in their life. And I think the strength of friendship or brotherhood is being able to understand where somebody is in their point of life. Uh, and if the failure to do so
Mm-hmm.
could result in the breakdown of the friendship. Um, there's a buddy of mine, and I say buddy, he lived here.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, there's two. One of them, you know, Lamar.
Right. Yeah.
Lamar now lives in Texas.
Right.
You know, so the dynamics of our friendship has changed because of locale.
Yeah.
And so, as I was going to reference another buddy of mine who also lives in Texas, Mike Pickett. And so we don't interact the way we do when he was here or when they were here.
Sure.
You know, for a while, certainly when I first got married, I was working 3 to 11.
I've
I
worked that
can't hang
shift.
with y'all.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
work. I
I
work
can't
that
hang with
shift.
y'all.
I got time. I gotta go to sleep.
Yeah, you know, I'm sleeping in the middle of the day. By the time I get ready to come in, then y'all already out in full groove. And
Yep.
but the failure to understand that can result in the breakdown of friendship or brotherhood. But then the third reality is, yeah, some people are there just for a space of time in your life, man.
Mm.
Some people are there
Mm.
just for, as we say, some people are there for a season in your
Right.
life.
Right.
You know, we didn't fall out. It just
Mm.
happened. And whether it's moving, whether it's just difference changes, you know, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, lifestyle changes, things just happen, man. And when we are unable to grab hold of that, it can break down the friendship. But when we're able to hold on to it in a proper perspective, you can come back 5 years later and say, man, I miss my boy.
Right. That well, can you speak to and you touched on it a little bit. I want to get just a little deeper into it.
Mhm.
Um, friends, brothers holding each other accountable. Um,
Mm.
I'm kind of seeing today in today's walk, especially the couple of generations behind us, where people say, "Well, that's my boy. I'm gonna ride or die. If he wrong, he just wrong. We'll work it out later." I'm like, no, 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 nah. That's not what we do. And
Mhm.
people, it's like people are scared to tell their friend, their brother or their sister when they're wrong.
Right.
Like pull. I always tell my wife, I can remember back in the day, how you're young and ain't no blueprint on marriage. You just in it. You just in it. And then, you carrying the title of pastor and like, well, see, see if you call Lavoris, see them your friend. I'm like, unfortunately, and I used to always say, unfortunately, Lavaris just don't ride with you just for the sake of riding. It just if he know you going to kill somebody, even though he need to ride up the street, he's not gonna ask you to drive him up the street. He'll walk.
Nah.
He'll just
Yeah, because
walk.
you might not stop.
Right. He may not stop. So that's one of the things I've always admire about you is being able to get the truth and be held accountable, because I always tell people then you know what home is.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
can you talk about people or friendships where people need to start, if they're really friends, if they really brothers or sisters, to be able to hold one another accountable and be truthful to one another.
I think that will bring forth the fullness of the term friendship.
Okay.
When we get to that place of accountability, when we get to that place of truth, then I will know you my friend.
Okay.
See, if you can't be truthful to me, you might not be my friend.
Gotcha.
If you and I cannot be accountable to one another, we may not be friends. We're just associates. We just happen to be in the same room. We just happen to be in the same space of time. But those two terms, man, really are the heartbeat and the pulse of friendship, accountability and truth. Because over the years, just utilizing you and I as an example, I mean, we've had some hard conversations.
Yeah.
We've had some, no, man, don't do this. Or we've had the, man, you're on the right track, you know, with that. We've had some, hey, man, let me hold $20 till, you know, and I can't pay you back.
Okay.
you see, and I mean, I don't think we've had a fight, you know, like that, but we've had those disagreements to where it hurt. And you know, it caused us to look inwardly and in turn come back and say, man, I really appreciate you telling me the truth. I really appreciate you holding me accountable. You referenced ministry. When we all came through the ranks of ministry together, especially early on, and knowing a little bit about our history, we had to be accountable one to the other and saying, all right, you know, we ain't gonna play with God. You know, and if we're gonna do this, you know, if we're gonna do this, let's do it. And because we both kind of acknowledged our call around the same season. And so we were like, if we're gonna do this, let's do it. And so that held one another accountable. I remember times where, you know, we used to help each other get sermons together, you know, study together. Hey, man, check this out. Look at this. Hit me up, you know, or whatever. And so it took our friendship on a different scope. We still remain friends, but when we weren't talking about ministry, we could talk about football. We could talk about life. We could just sit around and laugh and joke, you know, and clown around. And so it didn't make ministry the only context of our friendship, but we had another base that was solidified with accountability and truth. And I think a lot of people don't have that, because I do think we're in a time where, you know, no one wants to be told the truth. Everybody throw out this word transparency, and everybody throw out this word, you know, they throw the word out truth, but no one wants to be told the truth. If you tell somebody the truth and it appears to be negative, that we get shied off. I don't need any negative energy. I don't need negative vibes. Don't, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're on the Wiz. Don't nobody bring me no bad news. You know,
but I like, go ahead.
No, but you're lacking the truth in the matter. And so when someone contradicts you, we're quick to dismiss them as friends.
I like what you use. Trust me, you one of the few people that use it. You said the truth. Aha. Not your truth. Not your truth. And I told my wife, hey, folk got to stop saying that. Like, well, my truth, your truth may not be the truth. That might be your version or how you saw it, but that might not necessarily be the truth. And so I appreciate you saying the truth, not necessarily my version, you know, of the story. I remember share, because I am transparent. So I share a story with people And this about me, so it ain't about nobody else, right? So, but what you helped me with? Nah, man, we don't. I don't do that. I let somebody put their business out themselves. But I remember when we first got um in the ministry, and we were going along, and I can kind of remember me getting full of myself, and
Right.
um and I remember I guess a couple of our buddies was coming to you and they were telling you like he need to stop doing this one thing. He kind of makes himself like he's here, like he's saved way up here, and everybody else still got issues they got to work out, but he got it all together. And I remember two things happened to me. And I remember me and you one time we were in the Monte Carlo. We was in the Montlo.
Oh, Monday.
We was in the Monte Carlo with no window on the driver's side.
Yes,
And
sir.
I
Yes, sir.
remember I remember we were eating, and two of my childhood friends came through the cut, and I had owed somebody some money and hadn't paid it back yet. And he blasted me. He put me on blast in front of you. And I was so embarrassed, like, oh my God. I was like, I ain't, because one boy know I owe somebody some money, I ain't paid it back yet. Right. And then I remember another time, I think I had something at my house for Christmas. It wasn't around Christmas time. And you came through, Keith, and some other people came through, and I had family members that came through. And you know how it is when you change, and everybody ain't ready, ain't used to you changing. And it was like, what? You don't drink no more? Oh man, y'all here he don't drink. Oh man, he didn't change. Oh man, he didn't. And I was embarrassed again. And I remember you came up to me afterward, and you said, "Hey man, that had to happen." And I was like, I was trying to figure out why that had to happen. And you was like, yeah, because man, some of the boys been saying, you've been kind of talking a little slick, a little reckless about, you'll make little comments about they ain't all the way saved, or they not this and they not that. And you was like, see, God had to, it's like when God would call Peter Simon sometime, he had to remind him,
Right.
like, hey, bro, hey, hey, I can remember who gave you Peter. Now, don't think and that was a real conversation that you had to have with me to put me back in pocket, to say you can be elevated. God can elevate you, but don't never think because God is elevating you that you better than somebody, or you super this or super that. We all trying to get it together and whatever. And from that conversation to this day forward, I've always looked at it like that. Like I don't care if a person pastor 20,000 or 20,000 seat church, they'll never intimidate me, because I don't have to know your past to know you have one.
Right. Right.
I
Right. Let me jump in right here.
Go ahead.
When Natasha and I were getting married, preparing for our marriage, and we were discussing, okay, who's gonna be bridesmaids, who's gonna be groomsmen.
Right.
And it wasn't difficult, but I was saying that, okay, here are people, you got your immediate relatives, cousins, okay, they got to be in it. I said, but there's some people who have to be, whether they're groomsmen or they got to do something in my wedding because they know me.
Right.
They know my history. Right. Although in our context, certainly in our ceremony, how they say, if anybody here to object to this wedding, we don't say that, and it wasn't said then. But I remember us talking and saying, "Hey man, listen, keep your eyes open, because if somebody act like they want to move, they want to jump at my wedding, then I need for y'all to clear the room."
It's gonna get clear. It's gonna get clear.
Yeah, but I did that intentionally because y'all know me.
Right.
Although I was becoming or changing but still, y'all knew me. And when we, you guys were able to, be in the room with me and my
Mm-hmm.
family, and we were able to, I mean, they talk about it to this day, man, how we were just clowning prior to the ceremony. But that brotherhood, that friendship, that truth
Right.
kept me honest, kept me saying, okay, yeah, man, this is a great task, great journey that you're embarking on. Yeah, we do remember you, but you guys saw the change in me in changing to, become a married man. And such as we walk together and change to become a minister of the gospel. You guys were there. We came in there ultimately when I grew to the area of pastor, becoming a senior pastor in my first pastorate. You guys were there, and we talked about this offline. Hey man, y'all think I'm ready for this? And yeah, man, yeah, you in? You doing
You've
this,
been
that, and
doing
the
it. Yeah, you've been
other.
doing it. You've been
Yeah.
doing it. You've been doing it all your life. It's funny, I always had this conversation like with you when you got, because like you said, you were the first one to get married, and then a pastor. And it's funny when God called you. When he calls you, you never look like what you're supposed to be, what you're going to be. You just don't look like
Right,
it. That's why can't nobody believe it.
right.
Like, man, come on, man. And so, but the beautiful part is your wife, Natasha, of course we already knew. So that's my sister.
Mm-hmm.
And but the great part is by us all being in the choir together, you already knew her as well, but like you say, it wasn't. I guess it wasn't time at that. Well, we was in high school, so of course it wasn't time. But
That's right on the
too
heels of
early.
high
Yeah,
school. Man,
too
we
early.
graduate.
Too
Yeah.
early. Too early. but but seeing you also then grow into a pastor, you know, um, you were already doing those things. You were already one of the leaders, youth leaders at Elizabeth Baptist Church. You were already someone in high school that God was already cultivating you, and so it takes, like you said, friends, true brothers to see whether I'm supposed to be the pastor or not is not the issue.
Mhm.
You have to see the
Mhm.
good in somebody else, and when God is moving that person in another realm, right, in another place, evolving, you have to embrace that and say, man, don't be scared. Go ahead and do that. Not, no, man, you don't need to do that, man. All these responsibilities you're gonna
Mhm.
have, and I just never believed in doing that, because you got to walk in what God called and created you to be, just because that may not be, somebody else, you know. But I tell you what I've always appreciated about our friendship is that knowing you're a pastor, I can always see your humanity. It's easy for me to see the gifts and calling in you. That's easy for me. The great part where God balances it is to see your humanity, because it's just like, I was talking to Carvin Wine. It's like, man, sometimes people just think y'all knows is just in the Bible 24/7, man. You might come up, give
Mhm.
your wife a kiss, say something to your kids, drop your head right back in the Bible. It's
Right, right, right.
or they call you, you can't get a regular conversation. Somebody got to be deep with it. They had a dream. They want you to interpret the dream, because you more than a pastor now. You got to be
Uh,
everything. And
yeah,
then,
yeah.
yeah, and so with understanding that, because we help pioneer church, we understand those roles, those kind of pitfalls, the different things to look out, for far as within church dynamics, right? And so to make sure that you are being successful, and then you are being able to balance, I think that's what true friendship do, is that no matter if you're doing something that I'm not doing, how can I help you be better than evolve, or be better than, just be better. And for me, it was always saying, hey man, just let the people see your humanity. because the anointing that's on your life and the calling is on your life, that's what making people flock anyway. But if
Mhm.
they can see the humanity, then they can get the pastor's heart and makes it easier to follow you because they know what kind of man you are versus as you, which I know you're already aware that how sometimes being a pastor for some odd reason takes on a negative connotation for some
Yeah.
people. For some people, people think you're all about the money 24/7, and you
Mhm.
like, yeah, I don't have a jet, you know.
Right.
You see me with a jet, then you know you might could have some concerns, but until you see me with a jet, so and you just well
Let,
going
let me let
into
me
the
let me
go
say
ahead,
something. Let me
sure,
say
go ahead,
something on
go ahead,
that line.
sure, go ahead.
Uh, when I look at the text of scripture,
Mm-hmm.
leaders in the Bible, even
Mm-hmm.
Jesus himself,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which is you just let's go with Jesus.
Okay.
Jesus was God where? In the flesh.
Flesh, right.
He was divine and human
Human, right.
all at the same time. And sometimes we as humans,
Mm-hmm.
not divine at all,
Okay.
we want to portray ourselves as being divine and non-human.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but the Bible exposes how God came, sent his son Jesus into the earth in human flesh to connect with humankind.
Right.
And so why should I be different? Listen, the best version of me is me.
Got it.
I can only be the best version of me. I can't be the best version of me trying to be Otis Smith.
Right.
And so as a result, I need to reflect my humanity. But it being human
Mm-hmm.
also urges me in my call in saying, okay, yeah, although I'm human
Mm-hmm.
and all have sinned and fallen short of his glory,
Mm-hmm.
but I have to look different than
Of course.
somebody else.
Of course.
Not that I have to
Yes.
be different,
I know
but I
what you
have to
mean.
look different so that somebody could, as we say, put some respect on my name.
Right. Oh,
you
okay.
know,
Okay.
yeah, put some respect on the ministry itself and the call of ministry. Because yeah, in a lot of cases, this is historically and even current,
Mm-hmm.
people do have a negative context as it pertains to ministers or pastors, preachers, however we want to characterize. Uh, uh, and so I have made a conscientious commitment
Mm-hmm.
to be human,
Mm-hmm.
let my Christian faith live out in my humanity to change me, but at the same time honor the call that's on
Right.
my life
Yeah.
by trying to be a good ambassador for Christ. Because the scriptures tells us that people gonna see us, and it says, "Let your light shine."
Your
Let
light.
my light so shine before
Yeah.
men that they may see your good
Good
works and
works.
my good works. But hear this, but give glory to
Glory
me
to
who
the
is in heaven.
Father.
So they
Right.
see Christ as they see me.
Right.
And whether it's in the form of a husband, whether it's in the form of a father, whether it's in the form of somebody else, maybe a wife or mother,
Mm-hmm.
a coach, a friend, a brother, you have to be able to still see the Christian faith and the Christian life, but at this time where I am, the call of God is on my life. And we laugh, we joke, but
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, when it's time to pray, I know everybody gonna be looking at me. When it's time for a solid word or counsel, folks gonna tilt their eyes in my direction, and I have to know that. But I value that out of the friendship. You all honor that. But if I was straddling the fence in my call,
Oh yeah, it is.
you
Yeah.
wouldn't call on me for prayer. You wouldn't call on me in for struggle. because you like, yeah, he say he'll minister.
You always know that that's what somebody don't believe when he say.
Yeah, that's what he
He say. I'm just
church,
saying. I don't
yeah,
know.
that church got him over there doing something.
I
But
think he'll
I
usher.
know about
He say he'll pastor, but I think he'll usher. I'm just saying. I don't.
He need to be sweeping the floor.
Look. He do open the doors of the church. He
with the key,
with the key. But you know that's the friend, like you say, true friendship, true brotherhood allows to say, hey, I can joke with my brother, I can laugh with my brother, but I'm also going to respect the gift and calling on my brother's life, right? To the point that I still have to respect him and the office that he walks in. I ain't gonna call no name, but I just remember the time it was your birthday. They was like, yeah, let's take him out for some drinks, and I was like, yeah, pastor, you can't take you gonna plan to take the pastor out for some drinks. Not they weren't talking about, no Coke, no Sprite.
Right.
And so, but what it was, but here's the sincerity. The sincerity is they wanted to celebrate your birthday. It's just that they were still kind of caught up in the old Lavoris and not saying, hey, oh yeah, that's right, man. We got to respect, who he is, his office. And when I said that, it was more like, oh, I forgot,
Yeah.
thing. But that I love meeting people where they are in their sincerity, because you can always work when somebody's sincere, whether it's or whatever. I remember a time you preached on misinformed zeal. But yeah, I go way back. Well, I go.
Oh man, you remember? I need to go back and find that one.
You got to go back.
Yes, sir.
Hey, that's when we had tapes.
Yeah. And I still have some in a container, a tape case. They in the attic.
You ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing to play it off. You ain't got nothing to play it off.
No, I don't. I need.
I tell you. Well, look. I tell you what. I would come over one day in my daughter's car. She still got tape deck. I would come in my daughter's car. Hey, look. I need to borrow your car. He want to go over this sermon.
Yeah. Right. Hey, but let me say this though. I do remember a time, and this joke is may take us into a much more serious. I never forget, man. You came to me one day and you said, "Hey, man, I had a dream about us." And when you said us, it referenced, the crew we used to hang.
Yeah.
And you said you saw in us in an auditorium, almost like a men's conference or something. And we were all on different tiers. You were on one step, somebody else was on another step, and I was on the highest step. And your words to me were based upon that dream, that you believe that from a ministerial standpoint, that God was going to take me higher to the place to where I would be, I'm just using words from what I remember, over you all. And I see that, in the form of the pastorate today. You and several others have carried the title, have been in credential as minister, but I was the one who ascended to what we call the highest place in the church, is a senior pastor. And I'll never forget that, man. It broke me and kept me humble, but it also was part of my motivation in that, man, my boy sees something in me.
Yeah, man. I tell people, my aunt, I told you my aunt had got on me. And she said, well, you supposed to be up there, preaching every Sunday. Cause I have her grandson, my little cousin, is a pastor. And so they felt like, because Courtney is a pastor, I was supposed to be pastoring first. Then Courtney, by age, like then. And I had to tell her. I said, what's funny? I said, Auntie, God is moving me into a place where I call a lot of pastors, and I check on pastors. I say, God, and it's
Mhm.
not for me to try to quote scriptures and trying to let them know I'm on the same level or anything like that. I said it's to check on the well-being, mental health of those pastors. So when I always tell people, when I call and I ask how you doing, I'm not looking for you to say, oh, I'm fine, because it's just a casual
Right.
conver-
Hey, Doc, I'm
conversation.
good. Doc, you
Yeah,
all right?
yeah. Uh-oh,
Yeah.
you hit the thing. You hit the camera. There you go.
My
Yeah. No,
okay.
you
My
good. You good.
son's
I got you.
battery showing low.
Oh, you good. You good. We almost finished. We almost finished. But it's one of those it's one of those things that, yeah, I saw that in you, because like I said, you were already do I had a mutual pastor of our pastor friend of ours I was talking to one time, and I said, you know what, I got great respect for you guys, the pastor, everything that you guys endure and go through, and then you have families and you have to balance that whole thing out. and
Mhm.
and then I said, sometimes I said, for y'all to have a word every Sunday, I said, man, I struggled with a revival one time. I said, man, y'all shoot. I mean, and what people don't understand, I mean, a rhema word, a right now word, not a word that is just because you just want to preach, and here, let me just preach this. That you can get sermons, right?
Mhm.
We all know you
Mhm.
can get sermons, but to give the people what they need and right now, that takes hearing from God, studying the scriptures. I told him I said, man, I probably fooled around and step up one Sunday and say, look, turn the page, such and such, read it, and be like, we done. Look, I'm finna go home. The Washington football team about to come on in a minute. I got to get to the house. Y'all,
Exactly.
look,
Exactly.
looking at the praise team. Hey, hey, man, y'all, we ain't got to sing that many songs, man.
Right. Nobody get caught up in the spirit today.
Listen, I need y'all to do a selection. All right, a select. Soon as y'all finish, I'm coming up. Like, we ain't doing no announcements. We ain't doing it. But see, people, and the reason I bring that up, and I'm joking, but the reason I
Mhm.
bring that up, Lavar, is because people have to understand that you have other interests and you have
Mhm.
other things. Your wife has to be in lockstep with you, which she is in the ministry, as far as when you're pastoring, and that takes time. You got to balance that, and you got to balance your children, because your children don't look at you as pastor. You just daddy. Think about
Right.
children. No matter what you do for a living, they don't see you as that. They only see
Right.
you or the representation you are, their father. And so, knowing you having to train up leadership, um, sometimes you want to hang with your friends and you can't, because the calling is more. And even I remember talking to you one time, and I think, and I hope when people see this, the members of your church or any church will start to understand this. So then they have you, to call and ask you to do a eulogy, right? Okay, now you got to get that off you,
Mhm.
because you bring that home, then that you in a place where you don't want to deal with your wife, you don't want to deal with your children. It's like you're in a funk, and you got to get out. People don't understand all the different dynamics that you deal with, and you have to try to get rid of some of that stuff so you can be who you are to your wife, so who you could be who you are to your children. And that's why I call to always check on the well-being of pastors, man. Listen, uh comedian Rodney Perry told me, he said he did his mother eulogy. So I was with him. I said, yeah, man, I did my mother's eulogy. He said, man, I got booked at the eulogy. I said, what? He said, yeah, man, the pastor came up after the eulogy and asked me to do somebody else's eulogy. He said, I don't even know the person. He got booked to do two eulogies of people he didn't
Man,
even know.
man, man. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, but see who you are as a man, as a friend, as a brother, puts you in that level of understanding.
Yeah.
As we started off talking about the context of friendship, in that, okay, this man has a lot of areas of responsibility. And that role of pastor typically requires him to be checking on other people, and no one checks on him. And that's meaningful. That is highly needful. Not a lot of pastors have that, to where someone is checking on them. Again, we talked about earlier why people are in relationship with you, because somebody may be under you to get to the place where you are,
Right.
but not understanding. I'm so sorry, my son has a call coming through.
No problem. You good.
To where people don't understand that, okay, I need somebody to check on Lavoris. I need somebody to just, hey, I don't have a Bible question. I just want to, hey, did you see, that football play?
Yeah.
So connect with other interests that I have. But more specifically to you, because we did reference you being in ministry, and you talked about your aunt, when you gonna pastor. Man, interruptions is your pastorate. This is your platform. I think we shared.
You the first one. Yeah, you the first one that caught it.
Yeah. So this is your platform, man, to where, like you say, you're interviewing pastors. You're just talking to people as people. Lord has afforded you to connect with many people in the entertainment industry, those in the political arena and the like. See, you're touching people on a one-to-one basis that a pastor may touch bases with in a larger context.
Right.
You're getting some things. So, because one of the roles of a pastor is preaching. And so we preach to a congregation, we preach to a people. And sometimes that has to be dissected and broken down. So they may come to you, or you may come to them, and give more clarity as to what did God say. And so that's why, and I apologize, it took us a while to get this thing together. But that's why I'm glad, you gave me an invite, man, to come on and be on this Interruptions podcast, because you're doing a tremendous thing, bro. You are pastoring people, you are shepherding people, you are touching somebody's life who others may not touch them in that place in their life.
I just recognize I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, others may not touch them because somebody is always pulling on them, but there's no one there fueling them.
Right.
Trying to bring understanding to them. And that's a part of your role, man. And that's the heart of the shepherd.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I just try to, I know everybody has a story, and sometimes, because you don't know their story, people are looking for inspiration, and sometimes if they can find out a celebrity or pastor or somebody that they know or seen has went through something, then they know they can go through it too. And so, my platform is I'm just trying to be encouraging, also informative. But the main thing is to be encouraging, because there's so much going on out here and people are hurting. So it's just trying to bring something that would encourage, inspire, or people can look within themselves and pour more out, right? That they didn't know they have. You don't know how strong you are until weight get dropped on you first.
Exactly.
So I appreciate you coming on the show, man, and blessing us with your presence, man. I don't take it lightly. Later this year, I want to bring you back on, and I'm gonna pair you up with another pastor. Not gonna tell you who I got in mind yet, because I'm gonna surprise you. So, but just say hello to your lovely wife, your family, and everybody. And we appreciate you coming on. Stay safe and stay blessed, man.
Man, I appreciate you, man. I love you much, bro. And same here. Give my love to your wife, your kids, and your grands. And congrats on another grand.
I got 4. Look, I got 4 and 1 on the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Congrats on the other grand, man. And we'll be talking offline, and I appreciate you choosing me, man, to be a part of Interruptions. Man, God bless you and the fruit of your labor. And whoever will listen to this, certainly those who are in ministry, make sure you got a friend in your corner. Make sure somebody there to check up on you. And so that you could be not just pastors, so you could be human. So that's my last word.
Appreciate you, man. Peace.
All right. Love you, bro.